and on this morning's walkabout, I spot one lonely albatross. No whales, no penguins, no nothing else. Just one albatross, because we're out of the area of all the whales, the penguins, and Arctic wildlife. Because today is a sea day. We're on our way to Puerto, and it's warming up in the mid-50s. And in today's What's Happening, there's a few things that we plan on going to. There's a captain's talk, and we plan on going to see that. Then the only other thing is really the port talks. And that's the only lectures that we plan on seeing today, is the captain's talk and the port talk. Later on though, we'll go to the show. We'll have the Company of Men. That's probably one of the better groups that we've seen this whole trip. It's a Company of Men, and they were excellent. And in today's lectures with the captain, I found it very interesting hearing about the ship, how it's propelled, how much fuel it takes. All about the ship is what I love. Of course, I'm an engineer, so I love listening to how things work. But if you don't like listening it, sorry, today's show is not for you, because I'm going to record a good bit of it. I'll cut some of it out to shorten it up a little bit, but for the most part, it's how the ship operates.
Fell ill, so he can't join us today. So we're not going to be able to answer any questions on, what was it, CO2 or neutrinos?
Neutrinos.
Sounds like a...
Any questions you have for Dr. Ed, do not direct them at us, but however, I do have Dr. Google.
So I'll ask you a few questions and then we'll open it up. We do have JC and Ricky on either side, so once we do open it up to questions, please raise your hand and they'll head on over to you. So, and this is for both of you. I know that your fields of study are quite broad in the way that you could work all over the world, if you wanted to. You can study rocks anywhere you'd like, or ice that there are other places where you'd like. What got you interested in Antarctica itself?
I'll start off with that.
Ladies and gentlemen, for the expedition team, I think they did an amazing job. So it's been an honor working with them. Who can say they saw the mentor of Chacabuco? Okay, how was Stanley? I hated it.
That's an outstanding.
If you ever go to Belgium, no, that's not Puerto Madrid. Huh? If you ever go to Belgium, come to my city. I am from Ghent. Don't go to Brussels. Sure, I'll take it. Don't come to Brussels, don't go to Antwerp. We need your money a lot more than they do. That's in the center of my city, pretty cool little city. The number one question I get asked is, aren't you too young to be our captain? I started when I was 5 years old. I had my own command. So my dad, he's a retired pilot, so he used to be a captain. And then he became a river pilot in Antwerp. So when I was young, I would go visit him. As you can tell by the quality of the picture, we are getting old. But I would like to, I was dressing up like him and I thought I was a captain as well. As I got older, my friends at school and all that, they would start hanging out after football classes, etc. But I would still go see my dad in the weekends. Once I got 12 years old, I was allowed to sail with him. And I thought it was pretty cool to be with my dad on ship. So you can say I got the bug of traveling from my dad. So, this handsome young man was in 1999 when I decided to go to nautical school. In Belgium, nautical school is together with the guys from the Navy. We probably have the smallest Navy in the world, so I decided to go into the merchant Navy then. I was a cadet on reefer container ships, so I would sail between Antwerp and South America, going to get bananas and fruit, drop them off in Miami, New York, and back to Belgium. That was my first bosun. I learned everything from the bosun. The bosun is in charge of all the sailors. So the splicing of the ropes, handling of... Those are the azipods. Same like an outboard engine if you have a Zodiac. However, mine cost $25 million. Yeah, pretty cool stuff. The propellers are made from bronze, very light, very fuel efficient. The disadvantage is if you would hit something with a propeller made out of bronze, you would crack it. Whenever you have a crack in your propeller, even if you have a boat, a crack will create a frequency through your ship and you will feel the vibrations. Yeah. The silver blocks that you see are zinc, and that is to prevent corrosion. Salt water and steel does not go very well. The ship is always covered in paint. We have a silicone paint on the bottom, and this will create less corrosion on the ship. Those blocks will corrode first. These were your best friends in Drake Passage. Stabilizers. We have two stabilizers. They're like wings. Normally they are housed inside the ship's hull, and then we can deploy them, and they work with a gyroscope to counter the rolling of the vessel. The pitching of the vessel, which means the bow goes first and then the stern goes last, we cannot do much about this, only the rolling of the vessel. Back to the bridge. This is the administrative part of the bridge with the most hated telephone on the whole bridge. Why is that? Let me ask you, what is the telephone number of room service? You should know it by now.
90.
What is it? 92. Okay. If after the orange party at 12 o'clock you want to order a cheeseburger and you dial 97, you come to the bridge. Somebody in the office thought it was smart to give the bridge emergency phone number 97 and room service 92. We will not deliver to your cabin. When you hang up and you call again, we are still not going to deliver. The bridge is manned 24/7, so whenever there is an emergency, the person on the bridge acts in my responsibility, and then we'll take care of everything except the room service. It's one of our main engines. We have 5 engines. We have 3 16-cylinder engines and 2 12-cylinder engines. Depending on the speed we have to make, the chief engineer and I can choose what kind of engines we will start and stop. As you can see, the entire engine is encased. You do not see the cylinders, you do not see the pistons moving. Why is that? For fire precaution. At any part of this engine, you can put your hand, you will not burn yourself. Why is that? The worst thing you can have in an engine room is that you have a fuel leak on a running warm engine. Oxygen, fire, and a combustible product like fuel, and you will have a major fire. That's why everything is encased. If there is a fuel leak, it will just spray onto the casing, which is never hot. This is one of the loop oil systems for the engines. I am not an engineer, so don't ask me any questions about this. We have about 80 people in the technical department. Those men and women mostly work in the engine room, and they make sure that we have the fresh water production, that we have the electricity going on, the main engines are running, the azipods are running. This is a general overview of the aft engine room. We have a forward engine room and an aft engine room. where the 5 engines are, and then we select always an engine on the forward engine room and one on the aft. Why is that? In case one of the engine rooms caught fire, that the other engine room is still fully functional and we have light, air conditioning, etc. still running. The ship is 20 years old, and this is actually how the engine room looks day to day. Those men and women are doing an amazing job to continuously clean and are very proud of their engines. So they are one of the hardest workers out. But they're always working in harsh conditions. When you're in Antarctica, it's freezing cold. When you are 0.3 metric tons per mile.
So you had a repeat question or like a follow-up? The latitude? No? Just making sure. Ricky.
Do you have radar? Do you have weather radar on the ship as well?
Weather radar. No, we just have the radar. We can detect the clouds coming in, but not specific weather-related radars.
JC? Hi.
How much water do we have to have underneath this ship, or how much draft does the ship have to have for clearance for things underneath it?
We need to have at all times a minimum of 10% of the draft of the ship. So we are 8 meters, so at all times we need to have 80 centimeters under the keel. We will never sail with 80 centimeters under the keel, but in some ports when we are on site, then we have a meter under the keel, and that's really the minimum that we do.
Ricky?
We very much appreciated the Falkland Islands yesterday, and you had alluded to the day prior that it was...
No. We're spending all day here.
Yeah.
Too early.
All right. So, day is so beautiful so far. We'll be in Puerto Madryn tomorrow. We're going to be talking about both our Uruguayan ports today because we only have one sea day left the day after tomorrow. So we have to talk about Buenos Aires. So we kind of have to do a few things in advance to get you the information, all right? So we're going to be talking about Punta del Este first and then Montevideo. Easy peasy because they're like about an hour and a half away drive from each other. So this is going to be super, super duper easy to figure out. So by the time we get there, we are going to be right all the way at the top, almost to the end of our journey. It's like we practiced that. No, it really has been really cool, and it's been an absolute pleasure having you guys here. I know that we're not leaving yet, but yes, we're almost to the end of our journey. Now, Uruguay itself is a very small country, especially when you put it next to its neighbors. It's a tiny little thing next to a whole bunch of behemoths like Brazil, Argentina, and Chile. Heck, even Peru and Ecuador are massive compared to Uruguay. However, Uruguay itself as a country, it is quite safe. It is really where you go to have a nice vacation. Given the fact that it's so close to Montevideo, a lot of people descend on this town a lot. So it's a resort town, but it's quite expensive in that sort of way. It has hosted many important events throughout its history, including the 2014 Formula E Championship. It's also the site of the creation of the World Trade Organization back in '94. They hosted President Lyndon Johnson here in '67 for his U.S. summit, and it also happened to be the host, the place where it originated for several years, the Whitbread Around the World Yacht Races from 1985 to 1994. So this kind of gives you an idea of what to expect when you get there. As you can see, plenty of areas to walk around.
And we sat through the port lectures and talks and how the engine works and everything for about 2.5 hours. So it's time to get out and get some exercise. Okay, we're going to go walk our mile for the day. And we'll show you how it is if we spot any wildlife. Not likely seeing we're in the middle of nowhere, but we could. So I'll see you in a little bit. And as expected, we spotted no wildlife, but we did get to see some pretty scenery just looking out at nothing. And it's getting warmer. We actually broke a sweat on these 3 laps. So, yep, we're getting farther up north. So that's a good thing too, no more freezing cold. And after this walk, we packed our jackets, not knowing that we're going to need any more of our cold weather gear anymore. So all that went away. And on sea days, well, dinner at night is one of the highlights. And I caught myself during the day looking at one of the lectures, looking at my phone, because you can get the menu right on your phone for that night, seeing what I was going to pick out to eat. And it makes for a longer day, but still, by the time we sat down to eat, we know exactly what we're going to get to eat. On some of the other cruise lines that we've been on, we've sat down knowing exactly what we're going to get. And whenever that we order it, the waiter says, I don't think you're going to like that. So he makes a recommendation to bring us something else. And typically, the waiter's right. The thing that he brings us is a whole lot better than what we expected. Sometimes they'd bring us 2 plates of food, what we originally wanted, and the something that they recommend. On this cruise, though, everything that we ordered was good, so we didn't have any alternate suggestions. And here's a picture of our waiter, Risky, and you can see all the plates that he's carrying. He has them stacked up. For starters, me and Cheryl both had the chicken empanada. For my entree, I had the grilled salmon, and Cheryl had the homemade lasagna. And both of us had the chocolate chip bread pudding for dessert. Now this I could say would have been better if they were served piping hot, but instead it was cold, so that was a little letdown, but both were good. And tonight's showroom performers was the company men, and every performance was excellent.
Want you to hold on the palm of your hand. Why don't we leave it at that? Ooh, nothing to say. Everything gets in the way. It seems you cannot be replaced, and I'm the one who will stay. Oh, in this world. So don't let it slip away. No matter, pain could peel, the glass could shatter, praise, you will not remain the same. And there ain't a country to pay the foundation. Baby, I know it's on their places. Rolling right up a while we stay put. The house on fire and the mountains are good. The house don't fall, come on, let it go. Hold me close tight, yeah.
And that's day number 17, a lazy sea day. And today was lazy because, well, we didn't do a whole lot. We did a little bit of walking, but a whole lot less walking than we do on a port day. But anyway, thanks for watching. And if you haven't already subscribed, hit the subscribe button and join us again tomorrow as we're in Puerto Madryn.